There are moments in history when a single statement can send shockwaves across the globe. And this one, it's massive. What if I told you that the war in Ukraine, one of the most consequential conflicts of our time, might actually be coming to an end? Not next year, not in some distant negotiation, but right now. Or maybe while you are watching this video, it has already happened. Former President Donald Trump has made a bold claim. Russia has agreed to end the war. Let that sink in for a moment. The war that has driven global energy prices to extreme levels, disrupted food supplies, and restructured entire economies might be over. If this is true, it could be one of the most significant turning points in modern history, one with seismic consequences for geopolitics, financial markets, and global stability. But here's the question. Is it real? Did Trump, despite not being in office, somehow orchestrate peace where world leaders have failed? If this claim holds weight, the implications are staggering, not just for Ukraine and Russia, but for the entire world. Markets could skyrocket, inflation could ease, and economic uncertainty could turn into optimism overnight. To understand why this could be so bullish, we need to examine the economic impact of the war. The first and most obvious consequence of the conflict was the disruption of global energy supplies. Russia is one of the world's largest producers of oil and natural gas, and the war led to Western sanctions that limited its ability to export energy. This, in turn, sent energy prices soaring, fueling inflation in nearly every major economy. Europe, which had long relied on Russian natural gas, was particularly hard hit, scrambling to find alternative sources at a time when energy demand was peaking. Beyond energy, the war disrupted global food supplies. Ukraine, known as the breadbasket of Europe, is one of the top exporters of wheat, corn, and sunflower oil. Russia's invasion and subsequent blockades in the Black Sea led to shortages and price spikes in agricultural commodities, exacerbating global food insecurity, particularly in poorer nations. Then there's the financial aspect. War is expensive, and Russia has been bleeding money. Only individuals with the most money were able to get ahead. In times like this, it is essential to earn more, and if you want to do it, I have a gift for you that you can start using right now. In the description of this video, you'll find access to a completely free school, community, with a free course that I made, and a free one-on-one call from me and my team of experts to help you make money online. It literally takes 1 minute, so run and sign up for free. Let's return to the financial aspect of the Russia-Ukraine war. Western sanctions targeted its financial sector, cutting the country off from key global banking systems and forcing it to rely on alternative payment networks. The Russian ruble went through extreme volatility, at times collapsing before recovering due to strict capital controls. Meanwhile, Ukraine's economy has been decimated, relying almost entirely on Western financial aid to keep itself afloat. So if this war truly ends, what happens next? First, the energy markets would see a dramatic shift. While Russia has already redirected much of its oil exports to countries like China and India, the possibility of Europe reopening to Russian energy could have profound implications. Energy prices, which have been highly volatile, could stabilize or even decline, relieving inflationary pressures worldwide. This would be particularly beneficial to Europe, where high energy costs have been a significant drag on economic growth. Second, global trade would benefit immensely. A ceasefire or peace agreement would mean the reopening of Ukrainian ports and the resumption of full-scale agricultural exports. The result? A decrease in global food prices, which would further ease inflationary concerns. This is bullish, not just for consumers, but also for emerging markets that have struggled with food insecurity due to the war. Third, the financial markets would respond positively, very positively. Stock markets hate uncertainty, and the war has been a major source of global instability. If investors receive confirmation that the war is ending, expect equities, especially in Europe, to rally. The sectors that have been hit hardest by the war, such as manufacturing and logistics, would likely see the biggest gains. And then there's the geopolitical angle. The end of the war marks a significant shift in global power dynamics. If Trump did in fact play a role in negotiating peace, it reinforces his image in the aftermath of the 2024 US election. It also raises serious questions about the effectiveness of Western leadership in handling the conflict. Did the Biden administration fail to achieve what Trump reportedly accomplished? Were years of military aid and economic sanctions ultimately unnecessary? These questions could reshape not only US politics moving forward, but also the West's broader approach to diplomacy. Now, while all of this sounds extremely bullish, we also have to consider potential risks. For one, is Russia really agreeing to end the war unconditionally, or are there secret agreements being made behind the scenes? If the terms of a potential peace deal involve Ukraine giving up territory, it could create long-term instability in the region. Markets might initially react positively, but if the deal is perceived as a loss for Ukraine, it could lead to future conflicts or geopolitical instability. Additionally, we have to ask, what does this mean for NATO and Western military alliances? If Trump successfully brokered peace, does that weaken the case for continued NATO expansion? Could it lead to divisions among Western allies? These are unknowns that could introduce new complexities into global politics. Then there's the question of how Russia will reintegrate into the global economy. Will sanctions be lifted? If so, how fast and how will that affect global trade patterns? If Russia regains full access to Western financial systems and energy markets, it could lead to a reshuffling of global economic power. European countries might re-establish energy ties with Moscow, weakening their push toward energy independence. Meanwhile, China, which has grown closer to Russia during the war, might find itself recalibrating its strategic alliances. For investors, the message is clear. If this report is true, it's time to watch key sectors closely. Energy stocks could see volatility as oil prices adjust to the new reality. Defense stocks, which have soared during the war, might face declines if military spending expectations drop. Meanwhile, European equities, particularly in industrial and consumer sectors, could see a strong rally. Bond markets would also be affected. A decrease in geopolitical risk and inflationary pressures could lead to lower bond yields, benefiting governments and corporations that rely on borrowing. Meanwhile, emerging markets, many of which have suffered due to high energy and food costs, could experience an economic resurgence. And finally, we have to consider the impact on currencies. The US dollar has been strong throughout the war, partly due to its safe haven status. If the war ends, we could see a weakening of the dollar as global risk appetite increases, leading to capital flowing back into emerging markets and European assets. The euro, which has suffered due to the war's economic impact, could see a significant rally. The Russian ruble, on the other hand, remains an open question. If sanctions remain in place, Russia's economy will still face hurdles. But if sanctions ease, the ruble could strengthen. So, where do we go from here? If Trump's statement is accurate and Russia truly is ending the war, we are entering a new phase of global economics. The immediate reaction would likely be positive, with stock markets rallying and inflationary pressures easing. But in the longer term, much depends on the specifics of any peace agreement. If it's a clean, stable resolution, the world economy could enter a strong growth phase. If the deal is shaky or involves hidden conditions, we might be looking at new conflicts down the road. One thing is certain, the markets are watching closely, and if peace is truly on the horizon, it will be one of the most bullish events in recent history. Keep an eye on the headlines and on this channel, because this could be the beginning of a major economic shift. And another economic change that could happen even sooner is in your wallet simply by clicking on the link in the description. As I said before in this video, there you will find access to a completely free school community with a free course that I made and a free one-on-one call from me and my team of experts to help you earn more and finally change your life for the better. And what do you think? What will really happen? Let me know with a comment. And if you liked the video, subscribe and like it so you don't miss the next videos. And don't forget to click the link in the description, and I'll see you soon.